Voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Welcome to Talk Supernatural Radio, where the truth can set you free, but only if you get over it ticking you off first. I'm Heidi Linden.
I am Scott Linden, and we head up SWAT, Supernatural Investigations, where we dedicate our time into the area of the supernatural, spiritual warfare. We study and we research the spiritual aspects
Scott,
of paranormal.
Just do the regular voice.
It ruins all the fun. This is so much better. You remember that one guy they'd pay all that money to?
The voice guy?
I don't think he's around now. Maybe he died or something. They had other people doing it, but he'd get paid a lot of money per episode. What, commercials,
So what you're
infomercials.
You trying to get some jobs here?
Hey, whatever it takes, brother. We study the research of...
No, I'll do it.
I'm fine.
Scott and I study and research the spiritual aspects of the paranormal. Things like religion, folklore, the occult, and we assist people that are plagued by spiritual afflictions. Are you teasing me?
No.
If you want to see more about what we do, read about it, you can check us out at our website at eph612swat.com.
We've been doing this work together for...
Really?
What, you didn't want me to use the voice? Now I got to do it this way?
No.
Fine. We've been doing this kind of work together for about 13 years now, and we've been taking it to the airways, which I like to always call... I think it's great. I invented this. Saliva. Coming to... What? What?
I just want to get to the topic. I'm glad you have fun, though.
I gotta have some fun. I mean, I just sat, 7 hours in a auditorium watching, 3,000 people graduate from college. So, give me a break, huh?
So our topic today is Christianity and the paranormal. I picked this topic just because I've been inspired by some emails that we received. We get so many emails a week.
That's good.
No, that's good.
I do like emails, and that's what makes me sleep at night. Remember, we've discussed that?
Yes, we have. But the two emails that I'm going to read to you guys today, this is what inspired me to have this topic. So this one is from Kendra from Ann Arbor, Michigan. She says, "Love this podcast. Totally unique. I was surprised you're Christian. I didn't know religion and the paranormal could mix. I'm religious, but definitely believe in God. I'm not religious, but definitely believe in God. But I also believe in the paranormal. Thanks for such interesting topics." The other one is not such a good one. It's a little more negative. "You're such hypocrites. You say you're Christian, but you chase ghosts. Isn't that a sin? You can't believe in God and do what you do. Pick a side, morons."
We're morons. That's what we are. We are morons.
That's from Jackson in Mountain View, California. So, I don't know. I think that Christianity and paranormal, there seems to be two sides to this fence, but we're all on the same ground. So on each side of the fence, there's all these little areas, and it makes for a confusing situation. Now, neither side is definitely defined anymore. That's where Scott and I come in. A lot of people will come up to us and ask us how we can do this work, even though we are Christians. They say, how do Christians and paranormal fit in together?
Yeah, that's what makes us morons, because we can't seem to pick one side or the other, but puts them at fault because the Bible itself is all about paranormal.
But first of all, I want to say to Jackson in Mountain View, California, that we don't chase ghosts. We used to before we were Christian.
Listen to the entire podcast first, then make your call.
Do we want to do a disclaimer? I don't know. But I don't know. I think that if you listen to the entire podcast, each episode we do, you're going to see that God and the supernatural and the paranormal are all basically the same thing. I think it's just how people define it. Now, even though Scott and I are Christians, it's not always been like that. So I was raised Catholic, but when I started seeing spirits as a little girl, I was told by my family that I had to stop and that it was bad. So I wasn't choosing to see spirits. I was only 4.
Bad, Heidi.
Their refusal to acknowledge or help me sort of pushed me into occult practices, things like tarot cards and reading palms. So I was told that I was wrong. Yet not too long after that, I found out that my family was doing that stuff. I had a chain of relatives who had practiced forms of divination and table tilting using the pendulum. When I say divination, I mean it's sort of like a variety of methods via supernatural means to attempt to predict outcomes surrounding a person, time, or event. And that's the definition that I got from a website just to sort of categorize what we're speaking about. So when I was doing that stuff, my family told me I couldn't, and it sort of confused me because I found out they were doing it, and no one would give me a straight answer about it. So I had so many questions, and so I started doing things behind their back, and I hid, and I practiced the occult. And Now the word occult itself is Latin, and it means...
Is it Latin or Latin?
Latin.
Latin means to hide or to conceal secret.
So, and that's what I do, I should say I don't do it
what
now.
You did.
Yeah, what I did.
Past tense.
Sorry, that's what I did.
What happens is you're going to get some listener that's going to pull in there just for that.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people do with the Bible itself. They grab a single scripture.
Yep.
And they say, that's what everything is. This is what I got to do. It's like, why don't you read the rest of the book? Or listen to the rest of the podcast. Or listen to the rest of what's going on before you can say something about something.
And just like when I tell people, when they listen to our podcast, they don't necessarily have to take what we say as gold. I want them to research out the information that we give. I want them to find out for themselves. So like if you read a book by somebody or you hear somebody's opinion at a lecture or something, you can't say, I heard so-and-so say this and think
that doesn't make it so.
Because you're responsible for your own knowledge.
Right.
So every time someone's listening to something,
I think we've lived long enough to see, most people have seen where scientific facts and stuff have been brought up in different things, and they're like, this is for sure, this is that, and this is that, and that's it. And everybody's like, that's the truth.
Like Jupiter?
Well, you quit with Jupiter. It's Pluto. We went over that last week. But I'll give you another idea. There was a time that you always have the Christians versus the evolutionists, and whatever. And so what the Christian scientist did once is he took a rock off of Mount St. Helens, and he took it to this scientist, this evolutionist scientist. He says, I tell you what, why don't you tell me how old this rock is? And the guy takes it. He has it all carbon dated and everything. He said, this rock is probably in the neighborhood of about 25 million years old. This is really old. And Christian, this is not a joke or anything either. Christian scientist says, really, I just took that off of Mount St. Helens.
And it wasn't like the lava that got hard or something?
It's about 25 years old.
Right.
So you have to be so careful with science, and not everything. Science is not a absolute,
Yeah.
But the one thing with the Word of God is there's things that have not been proven, okay? We haven't proven yet, but there's nothing that's been disproven or not true. Those things that we've proved are like, yeah, that's absolutely true. And
with the supernatural, we don't have any answers. We sort of have to, pick what we learn and sort of make a hypothesis from it. And
so not everything is an absolute. So you could get some people who might say, well, I don't think that goes that way. Well, we're not saying that it's absolute gold. There's certain things we do know through experience that are, if you do something long enough, you get the same result over and over and over and over again. You begin to say, well, yeah. That's probably be leaning towards a lot more truth, but not everything can be set in stone when it comes to the paranormal. It's a realm we're not in.
Well, and that's how we became Christian, was by studying out things in the paranormal, our experience. Because like myself, I was studying all kinds of concepts of the occult. Like I was doing witchcraft, holding seances. I was using the Ouija board all the time, doing trances, casting spells. I was reading tea leaves. I started studying out gods and goddesses, religion, mythology, astrology. I mean, I did it all. It was like a muscle. The more I did, the more I wanted to know. So it just, my knowledge in everything grew, but I never had I should say I had answers, but I didn't have truth. But every time I had an answer, I had more questions. So it just led me to Christianity because we had experienced so many things and weren't getting resolutions for them. So for many years, I worked as a professional psychic, and then Scott and I got into ghost hunting. Then we did paranormal investigating, and we did things as a team and individually.
We kind of started this whole thing on the idea of being able to not just go to someone's home or place or whatever and say, yeah, you've got ghost or whatever, but to say, we want to offer you a solution. We want to offer you some help. We want to do something about your situation if that's what you want.
Right.
And I'd say 95+% of all of your paranormal investigators basically are just investigating. Or saying, yeah, you're right. You've got this going on. You've got that going on. We got proof of it.
Yeah, they've got equipment. Well, they've got pictures. But that's not what we do.
Usually people who call you in to come and check something out, a good percentage of them have really got something going on. And a good percentage of them don't want it going on. There's a few people out there like, oh, cool, my resident ghost. Well, one thing will lead into another, It was just a little drug at first.
Yeah.
And then somebody leads themselves down the path into living in a cardboard box.
And that's what...
I'm not knocking cardboard boxes.
No, of course. We love FedEx.
All right.
So some terms that I want to go over, because I believe that with the paranormal and Christianity, I think a lot of times it is a disagreement over terminology.
The understanding of the terminology is terminologically correct.
So I had been practicing divination, which the definition I went over, but also I was doing spiritism, which is any belief or practice pertaining to communication with the dead or spiritual beings. Sorcery, also known as magic, this is the art and practices by a person to receive and use supernatural powers.
I did that today, sorcery.
Did you?
I made my food disappear.
Using supernatural powers through the aid of spirits. You didn't do that.
You see how I ate it.
And necromancy is any attempt of involving communication with the dead, either by summoning up their spirit as an apparition,
like
or
raising... If you were to knock on a grave or something and go, hello?
Nope. Or
hello?
Raising them bodily, oh my word, or witchcraft, which according to the Bible are all these practices.
All put together, yeah.
Yeah. So we started seeing signs that everything we were learning was sort of falling flat. Every answer just led to another question, and I realized that answers didn't mean truth. So we just started...
Come on, preach it, come on. Come on, do it.
Too many negative things came along with doing that stuff. We had dark encounters, really scary experiences. I started becoming affected. My mood was going crazy. My personality was deteriorating. I had no energy. I was sick all the time.
That happened every month.
No, every 28 days.
Something like that, yeah.
No, that's not what it was. I was having body pain. I started making terrible decisions. What was that?
No, I'm something on my throat.
Yeah, there's going to be something in your butt in a minute. It's called my foot. I was making bad decisions. I was impulsive. I wasn't sleeping at all. I started seeing dark things. They were coming to me in the day and at night. It started affecting our children, too. Our kids were being affected by a lot of this stuff. They started seeing things and having nightmares. So it was like spiritual oppression was coming over our entire house. And this is exactly why God says we aren't supposed to do these things. So when you're dealing with people who are angry or upset with God or the Bible because God says we're not supposed to do these things, there's a reason, because it's dangerous for us. We don't have the answers.
And not everybody is designed for this either, Heidi.
Right, exactly.
I mean, we're not all carpenters. We're not all clerks. So we all have different jobs, all different positions in this world. And just spiritually, too, God's allowed us or pushed us down this path so maybe that we can be the voices to others that don't have to do or go down this path to get some of the answers they desire.
Right.
Somebody has to do it. There's people who are involved in spiritual warfare. There's people who are involved in, other ministries and teaching Bible studies or teaching this or whatever they do. But we're not all the same. Every one of us have something different about us that makes us part of this world.
Yeah. And if I would have listened to people telling me to, stop doing tarot cards and all that, if I would have stopped instantly, then I never would have learned what I learned. And now that I have this knowledge and experience and education in it, I can tell other people the dangers, and they can take their spirituality into a more positive direction. So you can grow spiritually, but you don't have to deal with the dark stuff all the time. I sort of thought, this is part of it. Experiencing all that dark stuff is part of it. And so I accepted it. But then I found out it really wasn't. I was choosing to go down that way. So,
choice was bad, yes?
Yes.
That dark side is strong.
We were on a case to help somebody, and they thought that they had like demonic stuff going on by talking to them, and I think we visited their house once. I think we were along the lines that something demonic was going on too.